Pastor Roger Patterson with Vision for Life Radio, where faith and sports collide.
Hey guys, y'all are listening to Vision for Life Radio, and we're on the phone with Spencer Tillman. Spencer, let's transition to college football. Okay, so got a Baylor guy, across the table from me.
I got my hat on, baby.
Yeah, he's in his green. We know that you played for OU, and I'm guessing that both of y'all are pretty big LSU fans this weekend if you want a chance to get into that college football playoff. And so with the most likely scenario, I would say LSU will take care of business beating Georgia this weekend. And so that fourth spot in the college football playoff really comes down to Utah and the Oklahoma-Baylor winner. And so it's kind of this week where, we're waiting for those championship games, but we want to start making the cases on and start the conversation on who has the better playoff resume. And so I guess from your wisdom, what can you see about this Big 12 versus Pac-12 debate of winner Baylor OU versus most likely if Utah can take care of business versus Oregon? Where do you see in the resume versus Big 12 and Pac-12?
Well, here's the deal. As an analyst, and I'm going to speak big picture here and try to do this really quickly, I operate from the premise that the college football field is the landscape is flat. Thomas Friedman wrote that book, The World is Flat, really as a clarion call to people to understand that now information technology allows people from the far reaches of the world to be able to collaborate and compete if they have access to that technology. So I think college football really mirrors what's happening in the broader context of society. Anybody can beat you on any given day. Now, that said, there are situations going back a few years ago when Nebraska left the Big 12, even before you got A&M, Texas no longer playing one another. I think that affected the conference in such a way where the perception of it is weaker. So whether you are Baylor or Oklahoma, anybody that's going to represent that, even though you have a true round robin where everybody plays one another, in some cases, if it's a Baylor, or whomever it is, you have the chance of double jeopardy. You can end up playing them twice in the championship game and, of course, during the regular season. The bottom line is you're not going to look as strong if you don't have those other teams in there. Yeah. When Nebraska left and those others, that weakened the conference. And so you have those tectonic shift that comes in. So let me just kind of set that stage. And quickly, I just think the Big 12 conference took a hit. And I do believe that. And I love Baylor. Matt, I'm on record. If you go back and check my Twitter account, you'll see we were singing their praises before it became popular to do. We had one of their games earlier this year, and I'm just in love with them. Brewer's an underrated quarterback, I believe. They have they've got a lot of guys on that staff that got NFL experience, so they can win any type of way if they need to. They can play small ball or they can play big boy ball if they want to. So I just like that flexibility. And so I like Baylor. I think Oklahoma has a savant for an offensive coordinator, though, in Lincoln Riley. And I'm just going to give him the edge, man, simply because what I know about him and Jalen Hurts, obviously he's a difference maker.
But on the other side of things, I think the team that really no one really knows about, especially here in Houston Central Time, it's hard to stay up late and watch those Pac-12 after dark games. And so you've called a Utah game, correct, this season?
Yep, called a couple of them. Yeah,
couple of them. Okay, so what I think no one really knows about is Utah's rise. Just they've had a great season, and they were upset in Week 4 by USC, but ever since then they have just been on a rampage. Really, they've won 8 games in a row, and really all of them by large margin too, except for a close win versus Washington. And so, tell us a little of what you see on Utah, because I'm not sure a lot of people know exactly what they're seeing in a Utes team this year.
Well, they're a great coach team. Kyle Whittingham, their head coach and defensive mind is sharp as a tack. Now he is a kind of an old school guy in this regard. He's a tenured. I think maybe the oldest. Maybe he's at the top of the list. I know he's certainly in the top 3 of longest tenured coaches in the FBS. But he is a defensive-minded guy. I like him because Andy Ludwig, his offensive coordinator, and I have had good discussions about this. Andy is kind of an open-minded guy. He wants to do a lot more. He has a quarterback in Huntley that's able to do more. But Kyle Whittingham says, you know what? We're going to anchor down with the Nye and all those guys up front, and we're going to play defense. That's what we do here at Utah. We know who we are. We're going to play this complementary style of football and win games that way. Now, at some point in time, because of the situation that we're in right now as we talk about this podcast, it is a beauty contest. Yeah. It is about how many points you can score, how many people you can impress, and then ultimately what I call the element of recency. What you see last you'll tend to remember most.
Yeah.
And so those people that go in there and decide who's going to be in or not are going to have to deal with that. And then more importantly, they're going to have to deal with this true fact about college football. Currency of our game is tradition. Now, that said, can they put their blinders on and adjudicate this the way that it should be? Or will it be another repeat of 2000, was it 14, 12, somewhere around there, 14, I think it was, when on that final weekend you had Ohio State leapfrogging Baylor and TCU, who were white hot at that time. And the only tenable reason for why that happened was because they were the Ohio State University. Now, once again, I think it's ironic that you have Baylor in the mix, or at least could affect it in some way. You know, I think that's really interesting. But I think this Utah team is going to be in that situation. If Oklahoma wins, Utah wins, who gets in? I think both will be champions, but will the prestige and historic place of the blue-collar Oklahoma team allow them to leapfrog? I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen this year, because I think Utah has a stronger schedule.
For your glory.